up with it? So today's video is going to be a little bit different because... Wait, hold on, this lighting sucks. There. Hi. Today's video is going to be a bit different because I've had a lot going on. Surprise. So I'm taking it a little easy on myself by doing an Ask Me Anything video. So if you missed it, I posted on like every platform I could think of to give people the opportunity to ask me questions about living in a vehicle, living in a car, being a content creator, or just whatever comes to their mind. Let me tell you, some people are creative. Let's just jump right into it because that's my mood right now. Let's go. I'm gonna go to Patreon first because those are my people. Jim asked, is there a van life social hierarchy? Like, are there van life hipsters who believe true van life happens in a certain way? Are there cool kids, van lifers, and lamers who don't fit in with the lifestyle? This is a really good question, and I'm actually kind of excited to answer it because I don't think many people think about that aspect of this lifestyle. So kudos to you, Jim, for having the kind of brain that would even think of such a thing. And yeah, that's real. I've ran into this a lot less more recently living in a vehicle because I've been less social with fellow vehicle dwellers. And by that, I just mean I don't go to like big meetups anymore. But I used to living in a car, and for the short time that I had my like micro van. Oh, it's kind of hot in here. Yeah, it's too hot for this. During that period where I was more social, more active in meeting a lot of people in this lifestyle, I ran into a lot of situations where it absolutely felt like that. I think a part of it too in this lifestyle though is a lot of us are content creators. A lot of us do this work. And within that, there's this hierarchy as well. There's people who have really fitted out vans that are really, really expensive, and they tend to click together, right? It's kind of like in a lot of different situations how cool kids in high school click together and emo kids and like the jocks, you know, people tend to like just gravitate towards people that are similar to them. And that definitely happens in this lifestyle too. I kind of hate that exists in this lifestyle because all of us living in a vehicle are living in such a unique way and obviously a very similar way. And I would just love if we were all buds, you know? I also had I've had a few times where people treat me differently when they find out how many followers I have. I've had like this girl one time hardly pay attention to me. She pretty much acted like I didn't exist in this social setting. And then she overheard somebody say how many followers I had. And she immediately snapped to pay attention to me and was like, what was that? And began to like boost me up and like be this hype woman for me. And immediately was like, what's your handle? You know, and was like just going crazy about how cute it was. I'm like, girl, I've been sitting here for a while and you haven't said a word to me. Like, stop it. Michael, hi Michael, asked what's on your bucket list of places to see in the short and long term. You know, honestly, I feel like my life in terms of short term, long term, like kind of doesn't exist. That's difficult to explain, and I'm not gonna try to. So I'll just say some top tier places that I have been wanting to visit would be Switzerland, Germany. Where else do I want to go? The Netherlands, Italy, Croatia. For some reason, I've been hankering for Paris. I don't know why. It's such a, you know, basic place to want to go. But it's calling me. Do you read comic books? I do not. That's very far out of my realm in that, like, I forget that comic books even exist. Ooh, This is interesting. How many hours per week on average do you spend filming, editing, and posting content? You know what? I'm going to put a pin in that and try and pick a week where I actually set a stopwatch every time I work, because I certainly could not place an average. It has varied like crazy. That's one challenging aspect of this work, is that like I'm the only person holding me accountable, right? So being solely responsible for my work sometimes means that I just take a week off pretty often, which is not what I want to be doing, and it doesn't help me at all. But it happens. Sometimes I, being like a spontaneous and fun-loving gal, I will pick fun over work that I really want to be doing. That said, then I end up compensating, and then I'll spend like an entire week every day, many hours per day, just working to catch up. Some weeks over the years have looked like maybe 10 hours a week, and other weeks have looked probably like 50 hours. So I do not know. Have you ever been harassed or scared sleeping anyway? What? Okay, I'm assuming you mean, have I ever been harassed? And if not, have I been scared anyway, like regardless? If I'm receiving that correctly, yes. Yes to both, definitely. Especially when I first moved into my car, woof, the amount of like paranoia and fear that I had, it's a real adjustment. At least when you're like myself, where you are acutely aware of your safety, you know, the risk of fellow humans breaking into your car, assaulting you, robbing you, things like that. I am definitely aware of those dangers, those risks, and they were active and alive in my mind and in my heart. Even while I was asleep, I would dream about bad things happening. Somebody knocking on my window or trying to get into my car. I have certainly been actually harassed. I have some wild stories, and I'll make a list of them. I talked about this recently, but I'll make a list of them, and at some point that'll also be its own video, because man, you wouldn't believe you wouldn't believe some of the things that have happened to me living in a vehicle. So stay tuned for a full-blown video about that. That's funny. The next question is, how do you manage to survive in this hostile world? That's my answer to that. I think I read you're from North Florida. Do you ever get back to the East Coast, or do you prefer the West? I'm rarely on the East Coast. I almost wish I was there more often, just because I have some friends that, well, one, like people who just live regular lives, like unlike mine, who are on the East Coast, and then people who also live in vehicles who stay on the East Coast, and I just don't go anywhere near there, so I don't see those people often at all. Wait, when was the last time I was over there? Since I got this van a year and some months ago. West Coast / just Western United States is just, in my opinion, which is accurate, correct, and factual, it's just way better. Yeah, it's my cup of tea. Aaron said, loved watching and following your content, but how do you afford it? Is the content / this is my life your income, or do you also work remote? Content creation is my full-time job. I stumbled into this, and in case you weren't here from the beginning of all of this for me, basically, I resisted downloading TikTok. A close friend of mine kept pushing it on me, kept trying to get me to download this freaking app. And I'm like, my life is fine how it is. I don't need that. And I was living in my car at the time. Eventually I caved. Like, she pestered me enough, I caved. And in the first week that I had the app, I decided to make this really stupid 14-second video for my own entertainment. Posted it on TikTok with not a single expectation. Long story short, that thing blew up. It got 8 million views. My life changed. The videos following that got more and more views. I think the next one was like 20 million, then 30 million. And about a year of it maintaining, I quit my jobs. I was like, I'd be a fool to not take this opportunity to do something so unique, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity kind of thing. So after a year of procrastinating and like hesitating, I finally was like, screw it. I can't not do this. John said, would it be more beneficial to buy a DIY camper or buy one that someone else has done? I mean, that's going to vary so much depending on your skills, where you live. Like if you have a driveway to work out of, for example, that can change everything. For me, not even having a home where I can work in the yard or in the garage or in the driveway, not having that resource alone makes it so much more challenging. And then if you're like me, where you had like really minimal experience, like power tools and everything aren't exactly new to me, but I'm also not an expert with them. So this is all challenging for me. So it really depends on your skills, how much money you have, what space you have to work on a van. I'm just going to answer from my own super biased opinion, like what I would do myself, which if I had the money, I would pay somebody to build my van through and through, start to finish. Doing this yourself, if you've never done it before, let me tell you, it's something. Kyle said, were you always this awesome or did you go through an awkward, not so awesome phase? I am not that person to ask because my self-esteem is through the floor. Okay? Couldn't be lower. Do you do any adventure sports? Biking, snowboarding, whitewater rafting? No. And I wish I did. Right now, my dream, my very achievable dream, but like, I haven't achieved it yet, is to skateboard. I've always wanted to skateboard since I was 14. Into it. Preston said, how did you get this lifestyle to work early on, financially, mentally, and emotionally? And what have you learned through this entire process in general about yourself? Okay. Well, first thing that comes to mind is something that I've learned is that negative comments weigh like 100 times more than positive comments. I'll get so many positive comments on a video, let's say, and maybe 10 negative ones. And I walk away from that experience feeling the negativity. And this impacted me greatly at first. Stumbling into this whole going viral thing, having that many eyes and that many freaking opinions all focused on me was really overwhelming. Certainly exciting and like thrilling and just like unbelievable, but also kind of crippling. There were points in the beginning where I felt so small and so judged. So I would say early on for me emotionally, challenging, very challenging, overwhelming. God, it was crazy. Ken, who lives out of his car, is asking how long it took me to save for my van to get out of my car. I didn't move into my car with this goal to save up X amount of money so that I could buy Y. I moved into my car to help save me from the situation that I was in, which was this really ugly, dark, perpetual cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. It was really difficult enough that I was driven to move into my Honda Civic. But when I made that decision, it wasn't with this mindset of, oh, I'll save up $50,000 so that I can buy a ProMaster. I was just desperate and wanted to change something, and that was a quick and effective way for me to do so, and a way that I thought I could handle. and that all ended up being true. This van is something that came up later. Good luck in your car, though. I know how challenging that can be, but also it's so freeing. So hopefully you're experiencing the freeing aspect of that. How many nights have you eaten ramen noodles and really wanted something else? I did a lot of that before I moved into my car. God, I was eating like, oh, bless my poor soul. 2019 was like so hard for me. I definitely had plenty of like cup of noodles back then. It wasn't good. I was glad to at least be able to have that though. I'm trying to like mix it up and hit different topics, but a lot of them are about similar things. So Ed said, do you really enjoy it as a long-term thing, or do you think you will settle down to a house one day? Which do you prefer? Ugh. Right now, I feel like it already has been long-term. I've been in a vehicle, we're rolling up on being exactly 4 years, so it is already long-term. But I get what you mean. Do I see it continuing for a long time? Honestly, like, I think a lot of people in this lifestyle can only predict a couple years out. I would say currently, I could confidently give an answer that it would at least be an additional year or a few years. Past that, I have not the slightest clue. I have not a clue what my life will look like in 5 years, what I'll want it to look like in 5 years. I can't believe my life looks the way it does today. I'm kind of currently in this phase where, sure, I have future hopes. Yeah, I do want to own a house one day. When that one day is, unknown. But I'm a little more focused on present because I'm like working through other things, like, of course, for each of us, life is more complicated than just what people see on the exterior. So I'm not only working on getting this van finished and paying off this debt, the loan that I used to purchase this vehicle, but also my own like mental health, physical health. I have a lot going on in those fronts, and I'm focused on those things, which are very today things, today issues, today challenges. So sorting out if I'm gonna live in a van 5 years from now, that's a decision for a future version of myself to make. What? Okay, this one's wild. Matt said, I lived in my car with a shepherd, a cat, and a snake for 3 months. Do you think you could have done it? I barely did. Oh my God. Woof. Wow, I think I could have. It would have been a challenge. But if those are my pets, then my heart has more space to tolerate those challenges, And though that would certainly create more challenge, it would also create more companionship. Like for me, one aspect of moving into my car that was difficult was feeling like so isolated, so alone. Having a pet would have been different and difficult, but I would have at least had that. Yeah, I think I could have done it. Not somebody else's dog. Like if you just gave me your dog, cat, and a snake, no. I don't know what to do with a snake, But had they been mine, yeah, I think I could have. Kudos to you for making it through that. Jimmy said, do you ever go to Oregon, Bend in particular? I've been to Bend at least twice. Is that right? Yeah. I went to Descend on Bend a couple years ago, and then I met up with Steffi Lee in Bend, about a year and a half ago. Bend is like my kind of size for a city to live in, but there is not a lot of diversity there. It's like uncomfortable. That's it I'll say about that. What is the coolest and worst area you've stayed? Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with worst first. What comes to mind, I don't know if this is truly the worst. Like, I would have to think too much to make sure it's legitimately the worst I've been to. But what comes to mind is New York City. I spent a small time in winter, so like December of 2020 in New York City. I want to say I was like northwest or maybe just west of Brooklyn, but east of the Hudson River. I don't know what the area is called anymore. I don't remember, but wow. There are some streets there that are just where there would just be like burnt down RVs on the street, you know, and like the fire was started because of like meth cooking and things like that. Also, St. Louis, Missouri, I have like a harassment story that happened there. So I'm a little bit biased on that front. Who knows, maybe St. Louis is fine, but I was like downtown one night and had some stuff go down I should have called the cops about, but I didn't. There's certainly other places too. Don't feel bad if you live in those areas, because I'm not saying it's the worst. It's just I've had some bad experiences in those locations. Oh, you know what? Also Denver. I was just talking about this recently. Somebody was saying they feel like the danger, like people, the dangerous people in Denver feel different. And I was like, right? Doesn't it feel as though, like in other locations, people will feel sketchy? I'm not sure if like somebody's gonna do a little assault. But I ran into situations in Denver where I thought I was crossing paths with a full-blown murderer. I'll spare you the context, but the coolest, I'm gonna keep it to United States because I feel like that's what this is about. The coolest, I'm always gonna say California. I know, first of all, I know that sounds basic, and I know it's broad. Let me be a little more specific. NorCal / Eastern Sierras. The diversity, there's deserts, there's lush green forests, there's frozen lakes, there's snow-capped mountains, there's hot springs, meadows, beautiful blue lakes. I mean, David asked, what states have you been to? I'm from Delaware. Have you been there yet? I think I know I've passed through Delaware. I can't remember if I stopped for anything, so I'm just gonna say no. I know that I stopped for gas. I don't think that I stopped for anything else. What states have I been to, though? Oof. I think like 35 of them, something like that. A lot of them. I will say I haven't been to like the Dakotas, or I don't think I've been to Montana yet, and super far northeast, like Maine, for example, haven't been there. And I haven't been to Alaska. Somebody said, do you know the Muffin Man? Oh, Christine. Christine has a creative question. Thanks, Christine. Last movie you watched and did you like it? I just the other day watched, you know what, I don't know what it's called. It has a really dumb name, but Adam Sandler's movie, which is like Halloween related. It's like a dumb movie that's supposed to be dumb, but I just found it to be like too dumb. I just couldn't. Not into it. 2 thumbs down. Not my type of movie. What's the hardest part about living in a van? I'm gonna give 2 answers to this because there's my own really specific bias, and then there's one that I think is closer to objective, like a lot of other people would agree with it. So my own personal one is the issues that occur. Like, my roof is leaking. When it rains, it leaks. My plumbing system leaks in at least 3 locations. My batteries keep dying, and I'm not sure what's going on, so I have to do more troubleshooting than I've already done. in the next few days. My heater has never been operational. Doesn't work, something's wrong with it. I'm not sure. That stuff sucks. But those are my circumstances. I would say that something that most people, if not all people who live in vehicles can relate to, is the kind of everyday chores, finding a place to park when you're not familiar with the area. That can be really exhausting. You know, there's a lot of comfort in knowing where your bed exists and it doesn't have to go anywhere, right? Like, you leave work, you leave hanging out with friends or doing whatever, and you know where you can go. You know it's okay for you to park there and to be there. It's yours. Living in a vehicle, you have to find that, as well as finding a dump station, a water fill station, the best gym to shower at in the area. Hopefully they have hot water. Just those everyday things that you have to do to exist. You know, you got to find a place where you're allowed to exist. And there are days where that's easy and you're used to it. And then there are days where you can just be so freaking tired of doing it, you know? Dale asked, how do you stay cool inside without air conditioning? Well, I do have an air conditioner. That's where the leak in my roof actually is. But I understand your question, so air conditioner aside, and I wouldn't want to run an air conditioner all the time anyway. I only do and only would use it in extreme conditions. Otherwise, my windows and my fan, you'd be surprised at how much that can cool it down. Outside of that, I wear less clothing. Just like now, it's a little bit warm in here. So I just took this off and I feel totally comfortable now. If it's like crazy, crazy hot out, I have my fan going, my windows are open, and it's still toasty in here. It is what it is. I either put up with that and sweat and have some discomfort, or maybe I go to like a cafe, I'm hanging out with friends, go to a park, just find places to be outside of the van. But if I don't have places to be, or I don't want to go find places to be, then I just deal with it. And let me tell you, I have had some hot days in here. I used to not have windows and not have this fan. And, it would get very hot, be very uncomfortable, and I just dealt with it. Thankfully for me, I'm the kind of person who can handle heat a lot better than others. My bigger struggle is handling cold weather. William said, what's something impossible in your life that you want to see done? Well, I'm going to take that like kind of figuratively. Oh, you know what? Here's a good one that is of a different topic than all of this van life content creation stuff. The healing of my mental health, my traumas, to be more specific. By that I mean I am like deeply impacted by the abuse I received growing up. And yeah, it absolutely affects the way that I show up in the world and the way that I feel about myself every single day. And that's something that to me feels impossible. Like I have a hard time believing, and by hard time I mean maybe I just don't believe that that's something that'll ever change. And I would love for it to. Yeah. That was a good answer. Thanks for that question. Scott asked, if you lived outside the States, where would you most like to go? I've kind of always thought about living in Australia ever since I visited there. Just because, I don't know, winter isn't as harsh. I like the accents. It would be different enough, yet also familiar enough. And the healthcare is a lot better than it is here, which is huge for me because I just stuttered so much. Because based on my last answer, you can guess that I wish healthcare were more affordable. So I could have, like, I don't know, started seeing a therapist when I was a kid. No, my mom wouldn't let me do that. But when I was like 18, I don't have health insurance right now. So, like, and I have some concerns. I would like to see some doctors about some things, but can't do it. Michael asked how much I spend a month in gas. If you have that same curiosity, I answered that question in a really recent YouTube video. So, is this where the card goes? Yeah, pretty sure. Click the card if you want to see that. Joseph, do you plan on ever road tripping to Alaska? Definitely, yeah. I thought about it this year, but I thought about it too late. It would have started to get a little too cold for me. I want to be there in like June, so maybe next year. I also have to have the gas money to get there because it's quite a journey. What the fuck? Sorry, some of these comments. Eric said, how do you get through the doldrums of life when they hit? I've never heard that word. I really like it. I'll look it up when I have service later. I'm assuming it kind of means like the hard times. That's how I'm taking that. Yeah. That's a loaded question. And I don't know I have an answer for it. Not one that takes less than hours. So, oh, this is interesting. There's several comments like this. Another one is worded, how do you stay positive with yourself? I don't. All right, let me try and... So I don't. I really don't. That's a struggle I have. When I see people who seem to be walking through life, not easily in the sense that like they don't have problems come up, but easily in that they can like do simple things like speak freely, like without overthinking it. Go into a grocery store without feeling uncomfortable. Those are not things that I possess. Each step I take through life is a challenge. Which might seem funny if you haven't seen the parts of my life that I share on social media that do show some of my challenges. If you've only seen like the good videos, the cute posts, then that might be surprising to you. And it might be hard to believe because when I do show up in my socials in a good mood and I'm able to do what I'm talking about, to like exist seemingly freely without thinking too much about it, and you know, I'm comfortable in my own skin, that's because I'm alone right now, you know, like and because I'm not thinking about the traumas and the ways in which that I feel bad about myself or negatively about myself. So maybe you see me in a video or something being goofy. I'm either with a close friend or in a mood that I'm seldomly in, or I'm alone, and it's easier for me to be comfortable in that space. It's getting a little bit too dark, and I'm also, I could carry on about that for so long. So I'm going to stop, and I just like to point out that reality, because I know that while a lot of people who post on social media don't have the intention to just show the highlights, that is a natural part of life that we share highlights, it's still something that happens, and therefore creates a space where quite a few people go to and feel bad about themselves because they see other people, I don't know, looking pretty or seeming to feel confident or succeeding in life in one way or another, and it kind of becomes this toxic relationship for them. So I just want to basically share that that's not what my life is all about. Some days are good, sure. Some are fucking horrible, you know, and I'm just getting by sometimes. A lot of the times, honestly. So, that said, one thing that I do attempt to do, this is a really recent thing for me, because I'm trying to like rewire my brain, because you can do that, is to either think or say or write down positive things about myself, things that I truly believe. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes my brain can only come up with negative things, but at some point in time, I'll be able to come around to positive things, and I'm trying to get them into my head. That's all right. That's enough. That's for a different video. Any plans on going to Vegas? Would love to bump into you, said Jimmy. I'm sure I'll be in Vegas. I've been to Vegas numerous times at this point. I'm sure I'll be there at another time. I don't know where I'm gonna be in a month. What's your favorite football team? I'm just gonna say Florida Gators because I lived there and I grew up near there. But I don't really care about such things. Okay. Jose said, how do you enjoy living in a car at 30 years old? I genuinely don't understand part of the question. I understand how do you enjoy living in a car. But at 30 years old, I'm kind of like, wait, why would... It would feel the same if I was... I mean, not the same, but, you know, if my circumstances were exactly the same when I was 15 as they were at 30, or if they were the same from 30 to 50, like it would feel the same. Maybe my knees would feel different. I'm not sure I'm understanding the tone of the question. But I will say, in regards to how do I enjoy living in a car, if you're the kind of person to desire these things, being financial freedom, actual physical just freedom to roam about, you know, nothing to tie you down like a mortgage or just literally things, right? Like a fucking carpet. Like if you have a carpet, you got to take care of it. You know what I mean? If you have a house, you got to mow the yard. All these things add up. So there's so many ways in which living in a vehicle for some people can be amazing. Have you done any mining for gold? What? No. No. What is your favorite movie? Interstellar. By a long shot. Yeah, I love. Talk about digging for gold. That's gold. If you had a genie and could make 3 wishes, what would you wish for? Okay. That's a good one. Hear me out. I am truly... This is a really basic answer. One of these, at least, is. And don't judge me. Okay? I've had financial struggles almost my entire life, and I'm tired of it. So, I would wish for, unlimited money, but not in the sense that I'm like, never in my freaking life would I buy something like a Bugatti or like a $50,000 watch or something like that. I have spent a lot of time and energy in my life worrying, deeply worrying about money, and I'm sick of it. So sick of it. So I would love to take money, pay off all my debts, and just never have to feel that way about something so silly. Some freaking paper. You know, like what a waste of energy. Anyway, a bunch of fucking money. Healing of my trauma wounds without thinking too hard about it. So I don't know if this, if I spent 3 hours sitting here, maybe I would come up with something else, but I'm going to say a little more energy. That's been a little bit of a place of struggle in recent years where I just like I would love to learn how to skateboard, for example, but going and doing it, I want to go do it. And there's times where I have like errands and things like that, and they stack up because I'm just like dread them because I feel like I don't have the energy. The more I say that, the more I'm realizing that's not true. It's not energy, it's a trauma thing, which is a lot to unpack, so I won't. Oh. My friend just showed up. Okay. So maybe the third one would be, oh, got it. A really, really close, tight-knit circle of friends. Like people you can count on to the death who are also friends with each other. So we can all get together and have like that comfortable, safe, loving atmosphere together. Wow. Is that weird that that's one of my 3 wishes? Okay, anyway, moving on. Will you marry me? No, Nick. I don't even know you. Chris said, as someone who works hard but wants freedom, how long was it until you made some money on YouTube? I wasn't really trying to make money on YouTube, so I would say, like, basing anything off of my experience on it would be just an injustice, because I wasn't the kind of person who was like, you know what, I want to be a YouTuber, I'm gonna post weekly and see if it'll come true. I was just like, sorry, my friend is like looking at me. Sup, dog?
Oh.
Nice job parking.
I messed up a little bit, but
I was like, good for her. I would have just like panicked and had anxiety and gone somewhere else. I'm gonna wrap up.
cool.
Yeah. Okay, my friend is here. I've been filming this for a while. So this is a good sign that I should wrap this up. I'm honestly amazed. I thought this would be way shorter. Oh, right. How long was it until I made money on YouTube? I probably put out like 5 videos total on YouTube for my own fun and like expression. And that was over the course of like a year and a half before I went viral on TikTok. And it was like that same month that I started making money on YouTube. So don't base anything off of my experience. My experience, I feel, is so unique and like rare. That's the same thing. Yeah, I had like almost no content out on a platform like YouTube and these other like entertainment driven platforms before I started making money on them. Okay. Of course, I tend to be long-winded. I shouldn't be surprised. I thought I was gonna try so hard to just have short answers so I could get to all of them. But I'm pretty sure as much as I've already recorded, I've been at it for a good hour. Way longer than I expected to be. I thought I was gonna do like 20 minutes or something, and yeah, that's just not what's happening. And so now I'm behind on my plans. My friend is here. Again, I just have some life-altering things going on the last like week or 2. So hopefully this easier video for me, this Ask Me Anything video, is enjoyable for you guys. I enjoy it. I'm sure I'll continue to sprinkle this into my content in the future. Yeah, I just really needed an easy week, and thanks for letting me have it. Thanks for asking the questions. Thanks for all the support. At some point, I'll talk more about what I have going on right now, but I'm not in the mood to do that yet. So, why do I feel fucking weird? Okay. Okay, goodbye. I always have a hard time saying goodbye, even to a freaking camera. But I guess that's not how it feels to me. It feels like you guys are there right now in this very moment. Okay. That's it. Goodbye. That's what we want. My beautiful face. My lens is pretty dirty. Sorry. I mean, fuck. Wow, I almost just watched a car accident. And I'm like, you're looking at it, baby. I'm just a little nerd. What a bore. And I have ADHD. It's wild. You know? I also am not a fan. That doesn't matter. Like staring at my friend trying to park. That's all. We're out. I can't. My friend is standing right in front of me.